Greg, may I ask you to leave work early?
Why?
Because me and Alice both have terrible fevers. I need you to take me to the hospital. My head is pounding, my body is dizzy. I'm in no condition to move around with Alice in my arms.
Are you okay? But I can't come home early.
Huh? Why not?
I'm going on an overseas trip with my mom as soon as I finish work.
Huh? What are you talking about all of a sudden? When did you make such a plan?
Actually, I've been planning this with my mom for a while without telling you. After Alice was born, we were restricted from going out, and it was getting stressful.
What?
I told my mom. She said, well, let's go on an overseas trip to relieve the stress, and I agreed.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you were stressed out?
Well, you've been spending all your time on Alice. She wakes me up several times a night with her crying. I can't even go out anywhere on my days off. What the hell is my life? It's nothing but stress, isn't it?
How can you say that when you've just had a baby? I think every family with a little baby is the same. Isn't it your daughter too? Raising a daughter is both a parental responsibility and a pleasure. Don't you think so?
No, not that my daughter isn't lovely, but...
Then don't go on an overseas trip and come home soon. Alice has a high fever. Aren't you worried? If she gets a virus, she'll be in trouble.
Are you...
What?
You're not asking me to come home early because you want my attention, are you?
Huh? Of course not.
Don't lie to me that you and our baby have a high fever.
What? Lie? I'm in so much pain and you think I'm lying?
All you want is my attention. You are such a pain in the ass. I'm going on a trip to France with my mother. Don't you dare try to push me and my mother around with your own selfishness.
I can't believe you. You'd leave your wife and child suffering from high fever? If anything happens to this child, I'll hate you for the rest of my life.
How could anything happen to her? You're lying anyway.
How can I lie in a situation like this?
Yes, you are. You're feeling like a princess, aren't you? I'm not your servant. Why should I leave work early and take you to the hospital? Anyway, I have to head to the airport after work. I'll be gone for a while.
Greg, wait! Teresa, I changed the locks on our house. You did that, mother-in-law? What does it mean? I don't believe you and Alice had a high fever. I heard you lied to Greg. I didn't lie. She's still breathing heavily and her face is bright red. I need to put her to bed quickly. Yeah, right. You were out of the house. If she has a high fever, there's no way she could go out alone with you. I was at the hospital. I asked Greg to leave early. He refused, saying he couldn't because he and you were going on a trip to France. That's right. I heard that from Greg, so I stopped by before I left. I didn't realize you were going out. Because Alice and I had no choice but to go to the hospital together. We don't need such a fake person in our house. When I get back from my trip, Greg and I will live in that house alone. You guys will have to leave. What? I barely made it to the doctor's office with a high fever. What do you mean? How dare you lie about both of you having a high fever? You're not a good wife, no matter how much you want Greg's attention. I can't entrust my son to a wife like that. From now on, I will live with him and take care of my son. So get out of that house. I barely made it to the hospital. I was so dizzy. How can you treat me so terribly? You know what? Greg and I are leaving for France. Can you please stop bothering me and pretending to be sick? It's very annoying. How can you two go on an overseas trip just like that? Oh my. That's coming from someone who is constantly stressing out my son. You only take care of Alice. I heard that you're not taking care of Greg at all. Huh? My son was sad. He said he doesn't feel like the house is worth living in. He said he's getting more and more stressed day by day. Huh? A mother is supposed to take care of her baby, right? Even you have raised a child, so you should understand. I did housework every day while taking care of Alice. I also cooked Greg's meals. I even had normal conversations with him. You were just doing it for yourself, weren't you? Greg was just an afterthought. How can you say that without even having been there? Because Greg said so. I believe what my son says. I feel sorry for him. You don't believe me at all. Of course not. How can I trust someone who tells such outrageous lies? I see. Okay then.
Mom told me what happened. I heard you got kicked out of the house. Well, I guess it can't be helped. You better be sorry you lied to me.
You two. What a pair. I can't believe you two. Traveling abroad in a situation like this.
I'm about to arrive at the airport. I'm leaving for France with my mom. Make sure you're sorry by the time I get back. Your reflection will determine if you get to come home or not.
What is that? What do you want me to be sorry for? I gave birth to a beautiful daughter with you. I've been raising Alice and doing my best to take care of the house every day. But, you know, we're only human. We all get sick at times. When Alice and I were both suffering from a high fever, instead of helping us, you called us liars and kicked us out of the house. I can't believe you.
You don't have to act like that. We know you lied to us and went out with Alice.
I barely made it to the hospital.
If that's true, then you're fine, aren't you? It's nothing to make a big deal about. So I'm gonna go enjoy France with my mom. I'm going to give you some time to reflect. You'd better change your mind by the time I get back, okay? In my house, I'm first, Mom is second, and you're last. You're in no position to complain to me.
Then don't ever come back.
What? You're going to say that?
I'm not going to take care of lousy people like you and your mom.
You're not so tough, so don't act like it. Hey, you're feeling sorry now, huh? I'm having the best time of my life right now. You're still sitting around the house, aren't you? I'm in front of the Eiffel Tower right now. I knew it. France is the best. You don't know what it's like to spend your days like this, do you?
You're a real nice guy. Don't worry, I'm having a great time too.
Huh? You mean you're glad I'm not there?
Well, you can think of it that way. I don't think you have to come back for the rest of your life.
What, are you being mouthy? Don't think I'm going to let you get away with this. I'll punish you even more when I get back, remember that? Hey, Teresa! Teresa! What's this all about? I know you're there. Answer the phone!
Huh? What's wrong?
What's wrong? What's wrong? I can't open the front door. Mom changed the locks and left the country so you wouldn't have been able to get in the house. And yet, what's this all about?
Oh, that house? I have a lot of feelings for it, and I was very torn, but I decided to take the plunge and rent it out.
What? What do you mean? Don't be selfish.
Me? Selfish? You and your mom are the ones who are selfish, aren't you?
Don't be silly.
I think I've explained it to you many times before, haven't I?
What?
I inherited that house from my late father. Of course, the house is in my name. What I do with the house, as the owner, is my business, right?
What? I thought you changed the name of the house to mine.
Why?
Because you married me. I'm the head of the family, right?
The head of the family has nothing to do with the owner of the house. It's a special house that I inherited from my father. It's only natural that I should protect it, right?
No way. I thought it was in my name.
There is no way I would give you my father's precious house. I was right to do so. So, I'm not letting you in that house anymore.
You're lying, right?
I'm not lying, because you can't actually use the key, can you? I had to rush to get the work done to make the house a rental.
Wait a minute. What did you do with my stuff that was in the house?
Oh, I threw it in a storage place. You better get it out of there ASAP. They'll get rid of it after a week.
How could you be so selfish?
I told you, you don't have to come back.
Huh?
You should have stayed in France with your mom.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. Mother-in-law first, wife second. You kicked me and Alice out of the house when she developed a high fever. I can't live with you who travels abroad with his mother when his family needs him.
What are you talking about?
I'm divorcing you.
Wait a minute. I didn't say I'd divorce you just because you lied to me. I kicked you out of the house because I wanted you to be sorry. Of course I was going to forgive you when I got back from my trip.
How selfish of you. I never once lied to you. It's true that Alice and I both had high fevers and that we went to the hospital together in desperation. I can't tell you how hard it was for me.
So where have you been all this time?
I guess you'll find out soon enough.
Huh?
Anyway, I'm not going to live with you anymore. I hope you'll get your stuff out of storage as soon as possible. Oh yeah, I left the keys to the storage place with your father.
Huh? My father? Why would you leave them with my father?
Okay, bye.
Wait a minute, Teresa.
Teresa, what's this all about? Greg told me. Is it true that you rented out the house? Yes, it is. The house is in my name, so I'm free to do whatever I want with it.
I thought Greg bought this house. That's what I heard.
Please don't joke. How can you buy a house with Greg's income? Huh? Because Greg is a genius who changed jobs to a famous company and became a department manager at an exceptionally fast pace. Isn't that a mistake? Huh? Greg is just an ordinary company employee. His place of employment is not a famous company or anything. He earns so little that it's not even enough for 3 people to live for a month. So I was going to leave Alice at daycare and go back to work. But now that we have decided to get divorced, I will be able to rest a little more slowly. And from now on, I'll have rent income coming in too.
What?
It seems that you love your son too much to see the truth. Even this trip to France was paid for with all of our joint savings. He must have wanted to impress you and said, "I'll pay for it."
What? He said it was a present for his mother, who has always been so kind to him.
Where is he going to get that kind of money when his income is barely enough to live on for a month? How could you believe that? I'm going to ask Greg to pay back what he spent later.
What do you mean?
I guess you'll find out soon enough. Anyway, you can't live with Greg in that house. Please go back to your own house quietly, mother-in-law.
Huh? Hold on, Teresa. Hey, you're stressing out my mom, aren't you? What are you trying to do? You're giving Mom a hard time. Take responsibility.
What are you talking about? I didn't do anything.
You told Dad something he didn't want to hear, didn't you? Mom told me they're getting a divorce.
Well, that's just great. She was supposed to move in with you, right? Why don't you and your mother just get along and live together from now on?
Don't be silly. You drove my parents to divorce. I won't forgive you. What did you do?
I was kicked out of my house with a fever, I was about to collapse at any moment, but I fought back and went to my in-laws' house with Alice. I was closer to my in-laws than to my parents' house, and your father helped me.
What?
What am I supposed to do in that situation? I had no choice but to rely on my father-in-law. At that time, I told him everything that had happened. Your father had been suspicious of your mother's behavior for some time.
What do you mean?
She talks about you every day. She talked as if you were going to live together in the future. He also noticed that you've been spending money very irresponsibly lately.
Dad said that?
Yeah. Well, she bought a big suitcase. He thought you were planning to do something bad. Just then, Alice and I came in, limp with a high fever, and it seemed to hit him. And he was furious.
No way.
He never dreamed in his wildest dreams that you guys were doing such terrible things. He also said he couldn't tolerate having such insane people in the family. So I'm convinced that's why he was thinking about divorce.
You think it's someone else's problem? What are you going to do about your mother-in-law's future?
Well, she's going to live with you, right?
That's assuming we have a house. Now that you've even taken the house away from us, that changes the story, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know that. It's nothing to do with me. You guys just planned it yourselves. Besides, did you get the keys to the storage place and the divorce papers from your father?
Yeah. I told you I'm not getting a divorce. I'll keep these divorce papers.
Me and Alice are no longer anything to do with you. Fill out your part and submit it to the city hall.
I don't want to. I'm not getting a divorce. How am I supposed to live without a house and divorced?
I don't know. Why don't you just take your poor mom in and live on your own?
Don't be silly. I'm serious.
I'm serious too. I will never get back together with you. If you insist on not filing divorce papers, I will hire a lawyer to fight it.
If you can do it, do it. You can't raise a child on your own, can you? You're definitely going to need my help. You're just bluffing.
That's not true. I'm going to be in full charge of the company my father used to run, so I'm going to be fine.
Huh?
Until Alice was born and I was able to take care of the baby, I just left it to my mother. But it seems that even my mother is having a hard time. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but after the divorce, I decided to move back to my parents' house. I'm thinking of running the company in earnest. My mother will take care of Alice, so I'll be fine. I don't have to worry about money.
Huh? Does that mean you're going to be the president? I thought your mother was going to take over your father's company.
I thought so too, but my mother became feeble with age. She's been asking me to do it for a long time. I've been thinking about asking you, and I'm glad I didn't. It was right before you and your mom turned on me.
Oh no. Did I miss my chance?
That's what it comes down to. You deserve what you get. Your father agreed with me. After the fever broke, I went back to my parents' house.
Wait a minute. I'm not getting a divorce.
I'm ready to get a divorce. I've already asked for a lawyer, so if you insist, I'll talk to you through my lawyer from here on out.
You're kidding, right? I can't even see you and Alice anymore?
Of course not. I don't even want you to see her. I don't want Alice to call someone like you her father. So from now on, don't ever come near us again.
Teresa, I'm sorry. From now on, I'll change my mind and do everything for you guys, so please reconsider.
It's too late. I will never forgive what you and your mother did.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'll apologize as many times as I have to, so don't abandon me. Please, Teresa.
I'm afraid we're going to go on a loop at this point. I'll leave the rest to my lawyer. Well then, please live happily with your mother.
Teresa, wait!
After that, Greg was very stubborn, but thanks to the lawyer, the divorce somehow went through without a hitch. Greg had spent all of our joint savings, which was subject to property division. We decided to have Greg repay that amount and pay child support. On the other hand, my mother-in-law was divorced without any questions asked. Having seen my father-in-law's rage, I can understand why. Because my mother-in-law had also spent a great deal of the family savings, she was left with very little in the way of property. I heard that they are now living shoulder to shoulder in a shabby one-room apartment after hitting rock bottom. However, Greg has enough money to live on because he has to repay the debt and pay child support. My ex-mother-in-law is working part-time to make ends meet. Well, isn't it nice that they are living together, which was her long-hoped-for wish? I left my daughter with my mother and went back to work in earnest. I am determined to do my best so that I can make the company that my father has been protecting a success.